My brothers and sisters, the Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You have faith in God, have faith also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If there were not, would I have told you that I am going to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back again and take you to myself, so that where I am, you also may be. Where I am going, you know the way." Thomas said to him, "Master, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way?" Jesus said to him, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you know me, then you will also know my Father. From now on, you do know him and have seen him." Philip said to him, "Master, show us the Father, and that will be enough for us." Jesus said to him, "Have I been with you for so long a time, and you still don't know me, Philip? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show us the Father'? Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? The words that I speak to you I do not speak on my own. The Father who dwells in me is doing his works. Believe me that I am in the Father and the Father is in me, or else believe because of the works themselves. Amen, amen, I say to you, whoever believes in me will do the works that I do, and will do greater ones than these, because I am going to the Father." The Gospel of the Lord. Good morning. As we continue on in this Easter season, we are approaching the blessed day when all Christians celebrate the ascension of Jesus into heaven. Heaven is why today's gospel is so very important. Jesus himself tells us about heaven. This is the house where Jesus is going and will live forever with his Father who is in heaven. Heaven. Now that is important to me in my life and maybe yours. God the Father sent his Son, Jesus, into our human world to tell each of us about heaven. Jesus explains that he is preparing a place for us there. In addition, Jesus tells us, "Where I am going, you know the way." When Thomas questioned Jesus about this place, Jesus specifically explains, "I am the way and the truth and the life." Each of us has heard it. Jesus is the way that leads us to heaven. And Jesus is the only way that we can get to God the Father's house in heaven, where Jesus is preparing a room for you and me. So the question this morning for us is, how strong is your faith in Jesus, that he can lead us to heaven? Why do I ask? Because in our modern world, many of us confuse beliefs with faith. Each one of us has beliefs, knowledge, and logical reasoning, just as the disciples did. They believed in what Jesus was teaching. They knew where he lived, who his mother was. They were the people who spent time with Jesus for over 3 years. Yet, even Philip struggled with his faith and doubted Jesus. And this is just like I sometimes do, and maybe you. Philip asks Jesus, "Master, show us the Father, and that will be enough for us." Philip is probably like many of us. He has trouble with relinquishing that illusion of having complete control through his own knowledge and logical reasoning. Somehow, many of us attempt to understand God's ways and then try to fit God into our human paradigms rather than dealing with the reality that we need to conform ourselves to God's paradigms. It's very important and very hard for us to accept that our intelligence, reason, and sensory experiences are limited by our human existence as well as the limitations of our time and place in this world. It's impossible for us to even attempt to fit God, the creator of all, into our own little boxes, no matter how highly we think of our own personal intelligence and rational thought. But we all know that in every age, time, and place, human beings have tried. Jesus asks us to have faith that he will lead us to God. Probably Philip, like many of us, would rather that God just show up this morning right here in this church today. Well, wouldn't that be nice? But that's not what Jesus said. Jesus said he is the way to God the Father, and we have to have faith in Jesus that he is preparing a room for us with him in God's house. My friends, each of us stumbles and falls in life and as well as in our faith. For me personally, it's a struggle against the impulse to limit the world to the boundaries of my own experiences and reason, especially when I'm dealing with my adult children. Little story about my eldest son that will help explain what I'm attempting to communicate. In high school, he was one of 3 freshmen who was selected to be in the wind ensemble. They were a select group of students who were all driven scholastically, athletically, and musically. My son is also a type A personality and is very driven, like my very lovely wife. His best friend from the wind ensemble was Justin, who was 2 years ahead of him. Justin was a varsity football player. He stood 6'2", weighed 200 pounds. Justin and my son's other friends in the wind ensemble nicknamed him the Little Napoleon because of his size and his belief that he would someday rule the world, in addition to his belief that he knew the right and best way to do absolutely everything. He got this trait from my wife also with my younger brother. Those two are best friends. Well, one day my son was complaining about not acing an exam and how it was so unfair. So Justin grabbed him by the waistband of his pants and put him upside down in one of those industrial garbage cans in the music room, telling him, "I'll take you out when you stop thinking you are the center of the world." Well, my friends, that is a common problem with our human nature, where we think we are the center of the world. I know when I came to understand that only God is the center of the universe, and the only way for me to God is through Jesus Christ. That is exactly what Jesus is explaining to us in today's gospel. I pray that you, like me, put all our trust in Jesus, following the path he is showing us, rather than insisting we can get to God and heaven by following our own devices. Amen.